we're going to look at the round back adjustment for the Carpe Diem dress. It's very similar to the round back adjustment for the Tabula Rasa jacket, if you've done that before. And I have my dress mock-up here to show you what the symptom would look like. We're not going to ponder over this, but you get a curve here that shows that you don't have enough space for the fullness of the top of the back. And so we're going to actually slash and spread on that line and put an insert in so that the jacket will be, the dress actually will be able to rest on the body in the way that it should. So let's watch that video and learn the steps for the round back adjustment. We're going to do the round back here on this back. I have traced off the size medium back, and I'm going to do the Carpe Diem round back adjustment. If you've done it on the jacket pattern, you know the jacket pattern is cut on the fold in the back, and so you have to do some special things to it, and we'll discuss those differences between these two as we move forward. But we have our balance line drawn here across the upper back, and that's where we're going to make this adjustment. And if you have done it on your jacket and you know how much it needs to be, you can do the same amount on the dress. We're going to presume that this person needs a 1/2 inch round back adjustment, which is kind of an average amount. And I have marked the 5/8 inch seam line here with my straight ruler, and I'm going to literally cut all the way across this balance line to that seam line, not past it. I am only making the adjustment to the seam line so that I don't have to adjust the sleeve as well as the pattern itself. So we have our slice made here in the pattern, and I'm going to take a second piece of pattern paper, which I have right here, and slide it underneath the pattern. Now, you can observe here that I've not only traced off the pattern, and we have a video of that. If that is something you feel uncomfortable about, you might want to watch that and see, pick up some tips about tracing the pattern. I just cut a little hinge here so this will sit once we get the addition made. You do want to trace all this off. If you have extra paper or extra sizes here, it just doesn't work as well. In fact, you don't get an accurate adjustment. So you're going to take your paper pattern, you're going to cut all the way across it, and then I'm going to actually tape the lower side down first. When you're doing pattern work, you want to keep everything very flat, and if you're trying to tape too many things together at once, it's a recipe for a disaster. You also want to use small pieces of tape, not one great big long piece of tape, which you can't manage. That also is a way to get a lumpy pattern, and we don't want a lumpy pattern. We want a beautiful flat pattern. Once you've done the pattern work and you know that the garment fits you well, then you can choose to transfer it to something like a gridded pellon or a Swedish tracing paper or something that will give you a more permanent pattern. But as you're developing your pattern and doing these simple alterations that personalize the pattern to your body, you definitely want to make sure that you're working in paper. Now, I am going to measure that 1/2 inch. I mentioned that we're going to do a little 1/2 inch round back adjustment. You might say, well, what difference does it make, that little 1/2 inch? Well, that little 1/2 inch, if you don't make this adjustment and you need it, you will find that that little 1/2 inch gives you a 1/2 inch of little rise at the center back, perhaps, when you have the garment on. It doesn't hang straight, and it is, and your whole back will look funky. This is really the best way to do this alteration, to give you the space where you need it, which is in that rounded section of the center back. Many people who sew need to do this little alteration to get their pattern fitting them. I have been making it for myself for a very long time. Now, because we have a center back seam here, this is really all that you have to do with this alteration, except finish the, make a little join here so that you have a complete cutting line. In the jacket, when we are working with a, and even in the knit top, when we're working with something that's cut on the fold, we have to fix this so that this line is straight. There might be a time when you were doing an alteration on, or you were using a striped fabric or some fabric that you did not want to have a curve in the center back seam. And then you could actually straighten this center back to a straight of grain line, and you could put a dart in, which is what we do in those other patterns where the back is on the fold. And I'm going to actually show you how to do that, just in case you might want to do it. For me, I actually think that the dart that spread between the two sides, and I'll show you how to do that, is much better look for me than having this curved center back. My round back tends to be dispersed between my in the shoulder blade area, not so much in this center back. And the more round back you need, the more you might want to straighten it up and put a dart in. So I've laid my ruler here along the fold line, made it even to the fold line all the way across, and then I'm going to come up here and straighten that line. I'm creating a new line here that is giving me a straight center back seam. But now we have to take that out because it is going to make the neck to open. And so again, I'm going to draw this original line here so you can see the difference. It's a sort of slight 1/4 inch, which is about right for a 1/2 inch adjustment. And we're actually going to move that, which just looks just like a little dart, doesn't it? We just don't want it there in the center back. So we're going to move it over here into the back neck before it turns promptly up. And I am going to just draw a little sort of angled line pointing towards the shoulder blade at about 2 inches long. This dart does not have to be as long as the one in the jacket because this neckline is lower than the one in the jacket. And then we have, as I said, a 1/4 inch. So we're going to put an 1/8 of an inch on each side of this line to create our dart. So it's a very small dart, but if you have a round back or you have garments that shift backwards or forwards on you, this is the alteration to help the garment sit better on the back of the body. And I know that it makes a huge difference in the way my garments fit. So here we have the dart. We've made the adjustment, straightened the center back seam if that's your option. That's option number 2. And added that little dart there into the neckline so that you have the shaping that you need. Now, once you've done this, you also have to make the change on your facing. And I have created a facing here that should have matched the original pattern. Actually, we're going to use this one for the sleeveless because it comes down and you can, I think, visually see it a little bit easier. So here it is, and there you see us running along that original line. So we're going to do the exact same thing here to the back facing. We're going to cut along that line. It does not want to sit very smoothly, does it? Let's move our other pattern away so we don't cut it by mistake. Move it away and then make this change real quickly here on the facing pattern so that we're ready to cut and sew. So we're going to cut across here just like we did on the regular pattern, and we're going to cut our little hinge here so that we have what we need so we can actually move it back and forth. And I'm going to cut a little piece because I did not leave anything here to straighten the back. So then we're going to slide this under. You want to do your pattern work on a nice, smooth, clean surface, if that is possible. You want to be careful to keep everything flat. Like I said, you want to keep your lines straight. You want to keep your tape smooth and your pattern insertion smooth so that everything fits together properly in the end. And now we're going to move this at 1/2 inch, just like we did on the basic jacket. Let's just double check that. And that is exactly where we need it. Oops, I folded that. Don't put folded tape on. Don't be in a hurry. I'm breaking my own rule here, being in a hurry. We're going to tape here. We're going to tape this little piece up here. If you don't like taped patterns, once you know these are all exactly what you need, you can create some permanent patterns with grid Pellon. We sell the true grid Pellon on our website. We also sell the pattern tissue paper and the rulers that you need to do your pattern work so that you have terrific. And so I'm going to straighten this line here, and then I'm actually going to lay this on my original altered pattern so I can make sure the dart is in exactly the same place. That way I know it's all going to fit together perfectly, and it does. And we're going to put a little dart here. If you know you read round back, do this adjustment before you make your mock-up so that you have all the adjustments in your mock-up so you can check it when you make it. You won't put a facing on your mock-up, but you want to make sure you have all your pieces together. And there you have back adjusted for a round back with the optional dart added for a straight center back seam. Thanks for watching this video about making a round back adjustment on your Carpe Diem dress pattern. Good luck, and I hope that if you need this adjustment, it helps your garment fit and feel significantly better. Happy sewing!